49er fans, I know it looks bad, but I promise it's not all doom and gloom. Welcome in. I am Seth Floyd Hansen. This is the Seth Floyd Show. And you know what? I woke up today and I decided I'm choosing positivity. I am choosing to focus on why I can be optimistic about this San Francisco 49ers team. I'm refusing to join in with the doom and gloom, we suck, we're terrible, we're going to miss the playoffs type of attitude that most of the fan base has had so far. Now, I don't blame you if you've had that, because it sucks, man. These first 5 weeks have sucked.
I just suck. I suck. Well, so what? Your body's a 10.
There's no way of getting around it. But I'm not looking at yesterday. I'm looking going forward. I'm ready to focus on how do we fix this thing. And I've come up with 3 reasons of why you can be optimistic about this year going forward. Now, I want to say first, before I get into my reasons, okay? Of course, by focusing on the positive, I'm not discounting the negative things that have gone wrong. I'm not discounting the lack of cohesion as a team. I'm not discounting the problems on defense, the problems on offense, special teams, even though special teams had a great play last week. I'm not discounting any of those reasons as to why we've lost, okay? I'm just choosing to believe that we can overcome those things if we hit certain check marks and fix a handful of things. It doesn't mean we will, but as a fan, I have no choice but to be eternally optimistic about my team forever and always. And I'm going to choose to live in the positivity and not the negativity. So here we go. Reason number 1, okay? You've had 3 losses on the season. One of them looks like there's no such thing as a good loss, but not as embarrassing as the other 2. That Vikings game, you were on the road. You were in the game, okay? You made some mistakes. Wasn't a perfect, clean game from you, but you were in it at the end. And they've beaten the doors off of other teams so far. So actually, in comparison, you played the Vikings a lot tougher than other teams have. But of course, I'm talking about the Rams game and the Cardinals game. Now, here's what I want to say about those. Those 2 games, in the first half of both of those games, it looked like you were about to run away with it. It wasn't perfect, but in both of those games, you had early leads, and it looked like this could have been a 28-point drubbing. And then for whatever reason, in the second half, for multiple reasons, in the second half of both of those games, okay, you let them hang around and you ended up losing, which is the bad part. But I guess my point is I would be more concerned about those 2 losses. The more I've thought about it, giving up a huge lead sucks. Feel like I want to puke, freaking rip my heart out, okay, that kind of thing. That's what it's felt like. But the more I think about it, I would be more concerned about the long term of this team if both of those games had been like back and forth from the wire, from the beginning. If it'd been back and forth and like the lead kept changing over and over and you were like toe to toe with the team, with both of these teams, I would be like, what is going on? But that wasn't the case in the first half of either of these games. Both scores of these games, they were 10-plus point leads in both of these games. And it looked like, at least in the first half of both of these games, that for sure you were the better team. Even if you weren't playing your best, we know we still aren't clicking on all cylinders. It felt similar to what last year was. And things just got weird in the second half. But for a portion of the game, you've been able to flex your muscles and show your superiority. Now, at the end of the day, who cares? You lost the game. But I'm just thinking going forward, that is in us. If every game up to this point had been a dogfight, and we just eked out 2 wins against some bad teams, and then we'd really been physically outmatched, or we'd been going toe-to-toe with these other teams that are worse than us, that would be more disheartening for the longevity of it. But you have shown you can get a lead. You have shown you can do enough to stop their offense. You've done enough to get leads on our offensive side of the ball, okay, and get a lead. I said that like 7 times in a row, sorry. But that gives me hope going forward. That not everything is bad, not everything is wrong. You just have got to find a way to close out the games. You have got to find a way to make the big play when it matters most, okay? So that's my reason number 1 for being optimistic, okay? Reason number 2. This team has been through this before, okay? This is not uncharted territory for the 49ers for a Kyle Shanahan-led team. Now, that might be an indictment on Kyle Shanahan. Okay, I'm not going to spend my time defending Kyle Shanahan on this video. I've done that before. I think I'm in the minority. I think a large portion of the fan base wants Kyle Shanahan gone. And I couldn't disagree more, but that's not what this podcast or this video is going to be about today. But in 2021, the 49ers were 3-5. And you know what? They got to the NFC Championship game. In 2022, they were 3-4. Remember, we lost that game to Kansas City. Christian McCaffrey's first game as a 49er, lost that. And then from then, it was off to the races. You went on to be the number 2 seed, got to the NFC Championship game. Of course, this situation is less than ideal. But when your back is against the wall in this scenario that we find ourselves in at this moment, I would take the guys that have had their back against the wall before and responded and found their mojo and got it rolling. Okay, though I would put my faith and put my money on those guys and a head coach that has been in that situation before and climbed their way out of it, than a team like the Eagles last year that all of a sudden the wheels are starting to fall off. They lose 6-7, and they've never been in a situation where their back is against the wall and they've had to come out of it. At least I don't think. Sorry, Eagles fans, if I'm wrong about that. But you get my point. This is not uncharted territory. They have been in it before. They've climbed and pulled themselves out of it before, more than once, and that gives me hope that they can do it again. Okay? It is not... Again, it's not perfect. It's not an ideal situation. But the truth is, on top of that, the division is not very good. The NFC West is not very good. And I know that's ironic saying because the 2 bad losses that we have are against NFC West opponents. But the truth is, the division is not very good. The Rams have lost 2 in a row since you lost to them. They are 1-4. Okay? The chances of the Rams making a playoff push, or excuse me, a run at the division feels slim to none. They just do. The Cardinals, good for you. You're 2-3. Okay? You beat the Rams. You beat the 49ers. You're 2-0 in the division right now. So that gives you a leg up over the 49ers. But I saw the doors get beaten off you by Washington. And I do not have faith over the long haul that you're going to be able to make a run for the playoffs. Or playoffs division. Maybe I'm wrong. You get Green Bay this week. That's going to be a tough game. You're on the road, and all of a sudden you could be 2-4. And it doesn't feel like you have a real shot at the division. Excuse me, could be wrong. That's how I see it, though. And the reality is, because the division is so bad, the Seahawks just lost the Giants. Okay, the reality is, if you win Thursday night, you are in first in the division, at least tied or whatever. You'll have the equal record with the Seahawks. Will you? 2-3, 3-3. Yes, you will have an equal record with the Seahawks, but you'll technically own the tiebreaker over them, I think. I don't know. You'll be at the top, though. And if Arizona loses on Sunday to Green Bay, you'll have the tiebreaker, or you'll still be in that first spot. And then it's about stacking wins. So the point is it's the situation is not all doom and gloom, because you've been in this situation before. They've been able to pull themselves out of it before, and the division is bad. So that gives you real optimism. That gives you real hope, okay? It doesn't mean they'll do it. It doesn't mean it'll end up like 21 and 22. It's not a guarantee. But there is a real chance that you can pull yourselves out of it because you've done it before. And lastly, my third reason, and then we'll get into this Seattle Seahawks preview. If you can weather the storm, if you can win a few more games before the bye week. So let's say you win Seattle. Okay, I don't have much hope that you're going to beat the Chiefs. You probably won't. But then if you can beat Dallas at home on Sunday Night Football before the bye week, you'll be 4-4 before the bye. That feels disgusting, but it is what it is. And you're still going to be in that race for the division. Guess what? The cavalry is on the way, because you're going to get CMC back. Now, you might get him back for the Chiefs game. That's what that report was. If they have no more setbacks, there's a chance. And they probably feel the pressure to get CMC back early. If he doesn't have any setbacks or any flare-ups with his tendonitis, there's a good chance you'll get him back for the Chiefs game. I don't know if that's the right call, but it might be the reality. But regardless, if you can get to the bye week, at least at 500, you're 4-4. You are going to get CMC back, I would imagine, right after the bye week. And you are going to get Dre Greenlaw back. I don't know if it's right after the bye week, but it feels like you're going to get him back in November. And those two dudes will have an impact. Those two dudes will fix a lot on both sides of the ball. Okay? I can't look at Devondre Campbell anymore playing in coverage. He's not even that good of a tackler. He's supposed to be a run stopper, not even that good of a tackler. I'm all in on the let's get D winners as many reps as we can. But Greenlaw coming back will help. Even though Greenlaw is not going to be at 100% when he comes back, he will still be better than what we're getting from Devondre Campbell. And then we know what CMC is. CMC should, when he comes back, he should be at 100%. This was not a major injury. This has been a precautionary, we don't want this to get worse type of thing. So in theory, if the German doctor, whatever, that gave him shots into his Achilles, whatever, if that worked, he's not recovering from a major injury. So it's safe to assume he's going to be at 100%. He might be a little rusty here and there, but his body, he's going to be as explosive as he was, assuming you get him back. And if you get those two dudes back, like, shoot, is it out of the realm of possibility you go 7-2 down the stretch? Maybe based off of how the first 5 games have looked, but those first 5 games have not included these two. So you finish 11-6. I mean, even if you go 6-3 down the stretch, you're 10-7. I think 10-7 is a good chance to win the division this season, just depending on how tiebreakers work. So those are my 3 reasons for optimism for the 49ers fans. I don't want to promise you that it's going to be okay, but there is reason to believe that it could be okay. There's reason to not give up. There's reason to not turn off your TVs yet, to still tune in every week, believing that they can get it done. Okay, and those are the 3 main ones. Let's hope they can get it done. Now, speaking of getting it done, it starts on Thursday. It starts Thursday night against Seattle, in Seattle. How in the world? I said this in the last video. How in the world? 3 straight years, you are Thursday night on the road in Seattle. It just, whatever, doesn't feel fair, but whatever. Let's dive into this. Seattle loses to the Giants at home. They didn't have Malik Neighbors. Now, thank you, Giants, for doing us a solid. That was a big one from you guys. I appreciate that. I have 2 things to say about that. One, how does Seattle lose to the Giants at home without Malik Neighbors? Well, one is the context of your record matters. They had the easiest first three games of the season. Okay, you had Broncos, Bo Nix first ever start. Then you get the Patriots, took them to overtime, eked out a win. And then you get the Dolphins, who didn't even have Tua. They had a wet fart at quarterback, basically. So that matters. Then they have this thriller on Monday Night Football with the Lions. Okay, that was impressive that they held up that long. There was no defense played in that game. And then I predicted it. If you watched my live stream from last week, I predicted that they would have a close game. I didn't predict that they would lose, but I had a feeling it was not going to be, they were not going to blow the doors off them because the Giants had 10 days of rest. The Seahawks were on a short week in this like highly emotional competitive game. They were due for a dud. Now, it's still no excuse. You shouldn't have lost the Giants. And so that makes me feel like, okay, the Seahawks team right now, they haven't figured it out either. Despite that they were 3-0, they have not figured it out. And maybe this is the best that their team is. I don't know. I'm sure Seattle fans would tell you no. I'm sure they'll continue to improve. They have a new head coach, but they have not figured it out yet. Okay. Now, that being said, record-wise, it's good that they lost. For this game, though, I almost feel like I wish they had won. I wish they had just eked out a close win, because you are now getting a very desperate Seahawks team that does not want to lose 3 in a row. Now, they're not more desperate than the 49ers. You're going to get the best, you're going to see the best game played by the 49ers, I would assume. The short week makes me nervous because they don't have as much practice, but you're going to get the most focused 49ers team you've seen. You're going to see, I think, the most buttoned up 49ers team you're going to see, because they now have done this twice where they've let leads go. Here are my concerns for the Seattle team is, I can't believe I'm saying this, Geno Smith leads the league in passing right now. They've been able to sling the ball. Okay, DK Metcalf is having a good year. Got a lot of catches, a lot of receiving yards on the season. And so I'm a little nervous for our pass defense, which at times has looked better than others. Against the Rams game, against the Rams, it was atrocious, especially late in the game. There are also some gimmies that we've given up, that we gave up against to the Cardinals, that make me nervous. Okay, we'll get into that more, but that's the biggest thing. I don't think they'll run all over you. I don't think, but I guess that's no guarantee. James Conner was freaking running all over us at the end of that game because we couldn't tackle. 12 missed tackles. Okay. That's inexcusable, and you're going to lose a lot of football games if you cannot tackle. So they need to fix that. Now, Seattle's defensive rankings, okay, just a quick. Their pass defense, they're giving up 183 a game. That's number 7. That's pretty good, but in the context of who have they played, they've played Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, and a wet fart named Skylar Thompson / Tim Boyle in Miami. And they gave up a crap load of yards to the Lions. And then, Daniel Jones also had a pretty decent game against them. So it feels like that 183 is probably a little lower. So that puts them at 7 in the league. They're probably closer to the average at 14 to 16 somewhere if they were playing different quarterbacks to start the year. Their rush defense, they're giving up 128 yards a game, number 20, great. So the point is this isn't like a top 5 defense overall. I know that I said that last week against the Cardinals. I thought Jordan Mason was going to go for 200 yards maybe, and then it just didn't happen because teams have really figured out a way to stifle this run game, which is concerning. Look, I know that Jordan Mason has the second most, or he did have the second most rush yards going into last week. But guys, we have been stopped in the run game. Mason has broken off a couple of long runs, but there's also been a lot of negative plays or stonewalled at the line of scrimmage that has put us in 2nd and long and 3rd and long. And so the answer is not to just keep running Mason into a brick wall. I know that the average is high, but he's broken off some long runs that have skewed the average a little bit. And so I'm still skeptical. I don't think that, let's say his average at one point or the average right now is at like 5 yards or something. Do you feel confident that every time Mason touches the ball, he's going to get 5 yards? I'm certainly not. I think it's more likely he's going to have more 1 to 2 yard runs, and then every 4 or 5 runs he might break a 10-yarder, which evens it out. But that's a problem when it's 2nd and 10 and we hand it off to Jordan Mason, and guess what? Half the time it's a no gain or a negative, it's a loss. That puts you in 3rd and long. That's happened to us a couple times and gotten us into trouble. So they have got to really figure out how to get this run game going. That is my official take for the offense, especially in the red zone. That has been the number one thing, I think, that has held the team back. The defense hasn't been perfect, but the defense has done enough that we should have won those 2 games. I truly believe. If the offense can convert more in the red zone, then we don't have these conversations about these games, and we're probably 4-1. Okay? The offense has got to figure something out in the red zone. And they know it. Kyle Shanahan knows it. Everyone who's yelling at him on Twitter and whatever, and X and whatever you want to call it, Kyle Shanahan knows he has got to fix the run game, or especially in the red zone. He knows that. So I expect to see some different things, more creativity this week. Here are my 3 keys to the game. Okay, I've given you just like a quick overview, a quick brief preview. I'm telling you, it is not about the Seahawks. It is about the 49ers. What I mean is, you are the better team. You are. You are the more proven team. You may not be playing like the better team right now, but we have seen it year in and year out that we are the better team than Seattle. Okay? And so it is about doing the things that you need to do to take care of business. In both the Rams game and the Cardinals game, do we feel like we got beat, or did we lose the game because we made mistakes? It feels like we lost the game because we made mistakes. Eliminate the mistakes, be more efficient on offense, and you'll win the game. Now, here are my 3 keys. First, defense, learn to tackle. 12 missed tackles, and most of those missed tackles felt like they were in the second half when you needed them most. Learn to tackle. Bring down Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, bring him down. Okay, I don't think Gino's going to run very much on you, but he might. He had some, actually, excuse me, I think he had 4 carries for 30-something yards. So tackle. Get guys on the freaking ground. Tackle them. It's key number 1. Okay, that was a backbreaker last week. Number 2, as I've already touched on, the offense has to score in the red zone. Kyle Shanahan, we need to see more creativity in the red zone. Last year, the red zone was so perfect. We were the number 1 scoring red zone team because the run game was clicking. Now, maybe the run game was so good because of Christian McCaffrey. Maybe Jordan Mason just isn't seeing it inside the red zone. I don't know. But the defense has figured out something in the red zone against us. Kyle Shanahan, we've got to be more creative, maybe in the pass game, whatever you want to say, but we have got to find ways to get into the end zone in the red zone. Okay, right now, guys, if you're just looking at total yards or average per game, I can't remember what it is. We are second in the league in offense. That is because between the 20s, we are moving the football. We have been moving the football between the 20s. All right? So it's not like the offense is completely broken. It's not like Kyle Shanahan can't call a game. Okay, but those inefficiencies are so magnified because they haven't ended in touchdowns. They more often than not have ended in field goals. But you're not going to tear down the whole operation. Like, overall, you are moving the football. You just have to find a way, whether that's the offensive line just needs to sack up more in the red zone, or we just need more misdirection in the red zone, or whatever. I don't know what the answer is for sure. I don't know, diving into the film like they are. All I know is if you fix the red zone and you can just score 1 or 2 more touchdowns a game in the red zone, like, all of this feels like fixed because the offense is moving the ball up and down the field right now. It really is. It's just not finishing the drive. Okay? So score in the red zone. We are second in total offense, but we are 30th in red zone scoring right now. That is atrocious and unexcusable with the roster that we have. Figure it out. Find a way. Okay? And lastly, the pass rush has to show up. The pass rush was essentially non-existent in that Cardinals game. 1 sack. I think that we had 9 pressures the whole game. Kyler Murray, for the most part, did what he wanted for most of the game. Okay? And it's inexcusable. Nick Bosa, I need it, dude. I need it. I know you had a good game against the Patriots. I need it. Okay? I'm not saying he doesn't bring any value because he does. He plays well in the run game. But Nick Bosa, I think he led in missed tackles last week. He had 2 or 3, tied with whoever else. I need it, dude. I need you like a bat out of hell to get to the quarterback this week multiple times. And Leonard Floyd, I need it. And Malik Collins, I need you to get pressure in Geno's face. Okay? It's just the number one thing. It is the number one sign of a good defense is disrupting the quarterback, and I need it from you this week. This game is going to be a nail-biter, okay? I don't think they run away with this game, but I'm picking the Niners to win, okay? I'm going to pick them to win. I think they fix the red zone woes. I called Brandon Ayuk having a great game. He didn't get into the end zone, but I called Brandon Ayuk having a good game last week. I think that is going to continue. Okay, I think that they are going to find ways to get him the ball. I also think this is a Debo game. I think Debo is going to have a great game. I think he's going to touch the ball a lot. I think he's going to run the ball a lot. I think he's going to have 6 or 7 carries, 6 or 7 catches, and you're going to see a 2-touchdown day from Debo Samuel. I'm manifesting it. Debo has been a Seahawk killer, okay, and I'm manifesting it. I'm going to say that the Niners get it done, and it's a 28-24 victory, okay? And yes, it's going to be a nail-biter. Yes, I'm going to have knots in my stomach the entire game, but I believe the boys are going to get it done. I believe they sack up, they refocus, and they just get it done, get to 1-0 on the week, and then they turn their attention to the Chiefs. Hope and pray, fellas. And women, ladies that are watching this channel, everyone is welcome. Everyone is appreciated. Even Seahawk fans, you want to get in and let me know what you think about my video? I'm sure you don't like it. I want to know what you have to say, okay? I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, okay? Share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. Help me. I'm up to 206 subscribers. Man, this has been fun. Help me get to the top. Help me get to a point where I can do this full time one day. And all it takes is a subscribe. You don't understand how much a subscribe does for the channel. You do if you have your own channel, but that's everything. If I can get subscribers, I can help this thing grow and get closer to what I want. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm out. Go Niners.